let's go down the checklist. These are some of the big warning signs if stress is having an impact on your body. And as you go down through here, I'm sure some of you are going, yep, check, check, check. There isn't an all of the above box, so a lot of these things we see day in and day out, and obviously a lot of those you can relate to. So what is stress? And it's important you understand what stress is, because if you don't understand it, you don't know how to cope. And stress was actually founded by a guy by the name of Hans Seeley, who was a Canadian endocrinologist, and it was referred to at the time as general adaptation syndrome. And basically what happens is stress is your body's alarm system. Your body responds to releasing chemicals called hormones in stressful situations as a result of, wanting to fight or flight whatever the stressor is. And, this was real important years ago. If you were walking through the wilderness and a tiger jumped out, we needed those rush of hormones to actually kick in so that we had a choice. We could either fight the tiger or we could get the hell out of there as quick as possible. And, obviously most of us are going to get out of it. But, it's important to understand that these hormones were designed to actually initiate in short-term bursts. And the hormones are adrenaline and cortisol. So the difference nowadays versus, the stressors that they dealt with tigers is the fact that for us, we're under those stresses for a long period of time. And so, they have a greater health impact on us than ever before. Cortisol, for instance, and I'm going to pass this out at the end. This was in Prevention, an article here recently, but it talks about the 7 ways to beat stress fat. And if anybody has ever struggled with weight gain, weight loss, stress is one of the leading components, as most people can probably sympathize with. But what happens is cortisol, which is that stress hormone, actually stores fat. And generally it stores fat around the abdomen, and it also stores fat around what are called the visceral fat cells, which are basically the structures of fat that surround the organs. And so what happens is, the more of that fat that gets stored, the more likely you are to develop things such as cardiovascular disease, things such as higher cholesterol. So, what we need to do is figure out a way for us to deal with that stress so that it doesn't have the same health impact that we're living with today. So, few of us encounter tigers on a daily basis. We do deal with that chronic daily stress. It's important to understand that there are 2 types of stress. There's positive stress and negative stress. Positive stress is called eustress, and we've all been in distress, so we know what negative stress is. But, not all stress is bad. Here are some examples. 2 people decide to get divorced. Well, for one side that may be a positive thing, for the other side that may be a negative. 2 people decide to get married. Same issue. Lose their job, get a new job, win the lottery. The biggest one you hear this time of year is, filing taxes. If you're getting money back, that's a positive stress. If you got to write Uncle Sam the big check, that's not a positive. So it's all a matter of how our bodies we choose to interpret it as to whether or not it's a good stress or a bad stress. So it's not the stress itself that's the problem, it's how we happen to choose to respond to that problem. And, in this slide, I was rereading it today. I feel like Dr. Phil, ultimately you're in control, it's your choice. So, at the end of the day, you have to make the decision of whether or not you're going to let stress impact your life or not. So let's talk about some strategies that you can utilize to reduce stress. And, first and foremost, you guys are the best group to talk to, because a lot of these things you're already doing on a daily basis. Otherwise, you wouldn't be. And, keep in mind that the majority of the groups that I talk to on a regular basis don't have access to a lot of the information or a lot of the tools that you have at your disposal at this facility. But some of the strategies, healthy alignment, Obviously as a chiropractor, I'm looking at physical alignment as a result of what impact it has on your body. But, that also goes along with, are you aligned with a wellness lifestyle? Exercise, obviously, is hugely important. Nutrition, this is probably, one of the biggest. And, you can do one component, you can exercise. Without proper nutrition, you're ultimately, kind of fighting an uphill battle. And nutrition is important because it's really the fuel that your body needs in order to survive and to run. And, if you put crappy gas in your car, what happens? You get crappy gas mileage, you're broke down on the side of the road. The same holds true, as far as what we put into our bodies. So, you put good things in, good things come out. And has anybody ever seen the movie Super Size Me? Documentary, and I'll make it short. Dude goes to McDonald's. Dude eats McDonald's 3 meals a day for 30 days. 2 weeks in, he starts to die. And that's not a joke. Literally, doctors wanted to pull the plug on him and get him out of this documentary because his liver was already that early on starting to become pate, and cholesterol was off the charts. And keep in mind that is the American diet these days. We live in a fast food society. And I made the joke that, a lot of people, if it doesn't come through a window or the pizza guy delivers it to your door, will not eat it. And, so many of the vital nutrients and minerals that we need to function, we're just not getting. And that's why so many of these cancers and chronic diseases are on the rise, because we eat so much processed food that just isn't fueling our body. And, there's the latest statistics that the average family of 4 spends $2.64 on fruits and vegetables a week. So, look at your weekly grocery bill, and I'm sure for a family of 4, I know what my grocery bill is, and it's just me. You're probably spending $150, $200 for a family of 4. $2.64 is just not enough. And obviously the tomato and the lettuce on the burger at McDonald's doesn't count as fruits. And this is also kind of a cute kind of side note, is I had a friend that actually kept a Big Mac back, and remember when they put them in styrofoam? He had one that he carried around with him. He was a nutritionist. That he had this thing, the date was on the top of the box. This thing was 10 years old. Open the box, it looked exactly the same as if they handed it to you today. So that, and that tells you, how much preservative, how much is in, the food that we're eating. And the other interesting thing is if you put that same burger outside, most flies and most insects will go there. Seriously, try it. And the same holds true with margarine. They'll avoid it completely. They know better. We just do. Healthy thinking. This is probably one of the most, underrated things when we talk about stress. People don't pay attention to what goes on up here. Do you get up in the morning and say, good morning, God? Or do you get up each morning and start the day with, it's morning, And so basically starting off your day with a positive mental attitude has a huge impact. And the other one on the list was creating a wellness team. And you have access to probably one of the biggest benefits that, a lot of us don't have is, the wellness support. Take advantage of it. And just talking with a lot of the staff here, they're a great insight. But, even outside of here, find people and find support that you can turn to. And, the internet is a great outlet, but oftentimes there's a lot of misinformation. So surround yourselves with, the team of people that you can rely and trust on to get good information. So, each of the strategies that we went through are going to reduce the impact of health on your life. The question is, how many of them you utilize. Obviously, the more of them you do, the better result you're going to have. So